Hey Internet, it's Aaron, your personal driver, and today I'm doing a video on insurance. The top 5 insurance companies for you, the RIDESHARE driver. We have Nate with us. He's going to help us get through this topic because it might be a little boring for some of you, but it's absolutely the most important video you're going to watch on YouTube having to do with RIDESHARE. It's absolutely the most important video I've ever done. Hopefully it will make insurance less boring. I don't want to call it out. That's stupid, Nate. That is stupid. Mystro! Hey guys, I just want to say if this is your first time here, go ahead and hit the subscribe button below and make sure you hit the dumb YouTube bell icon so you can get notifications whenever I upload something or I'm live streaming. And if you're returning, hey, welcome back. I appreciate it. Go ahead and hit thumbs up and leave a comment down below about what company you use for your rideshare insurance. Every Monday I have a new helpful rideshare video that I put out so I can help all you drivers out there. Every Wednesday I have a live Ask Me Anything live stream where new drivers are welcome to come and ask me any questions they could possibly have. And every Friday, Saturday at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I do live in-car streams so you can watch me Uber all around Seattle. So today I'm going to go over the 5 best companies for rideshare insurance, also sometimes known as gap insurance. Okay guys, so the first thing we're talking about is why you need rideshare insurance, and that's because Uber and Lyft, they do kind of cover you a little bit with commercial insurance, but not very well. And what's more important is if you get into any kind of accident, Uber's deductible is $1,000, okay? So if you have $1,000 lying around with nothing to do, I guess that's not going to affect you very much, but most rideshare drivers, myself to be included, don't have that kind of liquid cash just hanging around where it's not going to affect my life in a great deal to drop $1,000 on an accident. Now Lyft is even worse. It's $2,500. That's the deductible. So $2,500, that's a lot of money if you get in an accident. So I want you to keep that in mind when you're driving around, because just because you technically are covered doesn't mean that it's good or not. It's still a risk. I mean, $2,500 is a lot of money just to drop because of an accident. Also, that means most fender benders and stuff isn't covered, right? Because if the damage to your car does not exceed $2,500, well then you're going to have to pay for that yourself because the deductible is going to be too high for that. The next reason I want to talk about is both companies for Uber and Lyft that run the insurance policies are basically evil companies that try to avoid you, okay? I've heard nothing but bad things from people online and in reviews when dealing with these companies. They take way longer than they should. They, at every conceivable hurdle, try to say no to your coverage. They try to decline you for everything. And getting your deductible back, even if it's not your fault, is virtually impossible. These companies make money by screwing drivers, and yes, it's good because your passengers are covered really well, but you as the driver are definitely getting taken advantage of during these insurance policies. But before we get to that, I just want to let you guys know what kind of insurance you actually have. So hopefully you have some sort of personal insurance, and that's just between you and your insurance company, what covers you when you're not doing Uber or Lyft. But that insurance policy does not cover you once your app is on. So Uber and Lyft has a website where they go over this in more detail, and I'll put the graphics up here somewhere so you can kind of pause it right here and get more detailed information if you don't understand what I'm saying. But generally speaking, Uber and Lyft have what they call 3 stages, but it's actually 5 stages, and I'll tell you why. So they consider turning the app on, getting a ping, and then having a passenger arrive. Okay, but that's actually not true. There's 5 stages. So the first stage is you have no app on, so you're just driving around, and that's just it's like you're not working for Uber or Lyft, you're not doing rideshare, you are just simply driving on your personal insurance. So obviously during phase 1, your personal insurance covers you, okay? If you get in an accident, whatever you have on your policy is what's going to cover you. Phase 2, that is when you turn your app on, but you have yet to receive a driver request. So what that simply means is you have basically no coverage at all. You as an individual driver have no coverage. So phase 2 is the most dangerous phase. That's because you have virtually no insurance coverage at all. So that's when you turn your app on and you're waiting for a ride. During this phase, your personal insurance covers you nothing. You don't get anything covered by your personal insurance. And Uber and Lyft have basic insurance that doesn't even cover you or your vehicle. It's only for other things, like if you run into a stop sign or something like that. If you have any kind of injury at all, you're screwed. You get nothing during this phase. This is why most companies provide some kind of rideshare coverage. Is for this phase, phase 2 part, the gap between turning your app on and getting a ride request. Also, this is why I always tell people that you should never ever drive on the freeway with your app on. For 2 reasons. One, it kills surge, and the ride request that you get, if you get, is going to be terrible and it's not going to be very good. And the second reason is you're not covered for insurance and it's dangerous. It's one thing to not be covered for insurance while you're in a parking lot and you're just sitting there, because the chance that someone's going to hit you is very light, and if they do hit you, the damage to your vehicle is probably going to be less than the deductible anyway, and you're not going to have any medical bills. But if you're on a freeway and you get hit, that's another story entirely. You are definitely, without question, going to be needing some kind of medical insurance, and your car's going to be jacked up past the deductible. So make sure that you're never on the freeway with your app on, especially if you don't have some kind of gap insurance. What you're basically asking for is $1 million in medical bills that you'll have to bankrupt yourself to go ahead and get taken care of. So the next one is, I call it phase 3. Uber and Lyft call it phase 2. This is where you get a request and you're driving to them. So both Uber and Lyft have uninsured motorist coverage during this time. So if someone who doesn't have an insurance and they hit you, you'll be covered. The problem is there's a little bit of difference between Uber and Lyft, so go ahead and look at these graphics here. And also during this phase, there seems to be some discrepancy between what Uber and Lyft claim you're covered for and then what you're actually claim you're covered for. Because they claim that you're covered during phase 3, but while you're driving to pick up a customer, there have been a lot of people who have been denied coverage by the Uber and Lyft companies who insure them. So the claim is that you're covered, but I'm not entirely sure that's true or accurate. I've seen a lot of complaints online, and I've heard a lot of articles where people say during this phase their coverage has been declined. So you may or may not be covered during this phase, and you're not, as a driver, personally covered. It doesn't really kick in. The full $1 million policy doesn't kick in until you actually have a passenger in your seat. That is phase 4. So during this phase, you have the customer in your car and you're driving them to their destination. So I know I said there's 5 phases, and that's because once you drop the customer off, sometimes you enter a new phase, especially if you're doing like an Uber pool or a stacked ride request, where the 5th phase kind of loops back into what our 3rd phase was. But it's where you've dropped off a customer and you don't have a new customer in your car. So phase 5 is a little bit iffy because it depends on what you're doing. Now if you've just dropped off the passenger and you don't have another ride request, well then phase 5 seems a lot like phase 2, right? Where you are sitting there with your app off and you haven't gotten any ride requests. It could also be like phase 3 and 4. It just depends on what you are doing. Do you have another customer in the car? Are you on your way to get another customer? What are you doing? I agree. Nate agrees with that. So during phase 5, it's really important to check your surroundings, see where you're at. If you're going to be on a freeway during phase 5, turn your app off and start it all over again. You know, if you're just going across the street, maybe you keep your app on, but just keep in mind you have to be very careful because you don't have insurance during this phase. It's like being, again, at the very beginning. Hey Internet, it's Aaron, your personal driver, and as you can tell, I'm in post-production for this video, and I just realized I forgot to tell you guys the most important part of having insurance. So the reason that you want to have your own private insurance cover all this gap stuff, because any type of accident you have, you want to claim the accident with your insurance and have them go after Uber and Lyft's insurance if they're liable for anything. The reason for that is because your insurance company is going to work to get every cent they can out of Uber and Lyft so they don't have to pay anything for your accident. Uber and Lyft's insurance companies are going to work as hard as they can to not help you out at all. They're going to try to not pay out anything. And so the advantage of having this gap insurance is not only that it covers you for all these phases that you don't get covered with, but if you actually have something you need to claim with Uber or Lyft, it'll be easier for you to do because you just call up your insurance company, make the claim, and then they'll take care of it. And trust me, Uber and Lyft's insurance companies are going to listen to multi-million-dollar multi-state, huge insurance conglomerates, a lot more than they're going to listen to you as an individual driver. So I just wanted to go ahead and add that into this video real quick. So now that you know the risk, let's talk about the top 5 insurance companies for doing Uber and Lyft. And the first is my particular favorite. This is the one I'm using. It's not available to everybody. It's through USAA, which is a company that provides services to the military. So if your parents are in the military, your spouse is in the military, or you were in the military, you are eligible to get USAA bank accounts, insurance, investment portfolios, yada yada yada. It's really good for me here. It's $10 a month. Now, just remember, in your state, in your market, and based on your history, that could go up or down. But for me, it's $10 a month, so $120 a year, and it covers the gap time. So during that phase 2 between when your app is on and you haven't got a ride. So what it does is my regular insurance just works during that. So it's like any gaps that the Uber insurance doesn't cover, including medical for me, it covers me under my regular insurance. So whatever my regular insurance policy is, under that is how that works. So that's number 5, and the reason that that's number 5 is because it doesn't cover you during any of the phases except for number 2, and it doesn't help you with any of the deductibles. Okay. The number 4 is Allstate. The reason Allstate is a good, solid pick for everybody is because they do cover you in the gaps, specifically number 2, and you use your own Allstate insurance, which is much better than the insurance for Uber and Lyft. The reason that it's not higher on the list actually is because it's very costly, and it's harder to become a member of Allstate than it is some of these other companies. They don't take everyone. Allstate doesn't take everybody. It's kind of an exclusive party. You have to be a good driver and in good standing to get coverage with them most of the time. This is a general statement. Obviously, different states and situations are different. And they don't go anything above and beyond just that basic stuff, and it could be a little bit more expensive. So in a lot of ways, Allstate is just like USAA, only it's accessible to more people, because USAA is just accessible to military people. Number 3, as you can tell, the little one's already kinked out, so he's already bored by insurance. Hopefully you aren't. Number 3 is farmer's insurance. So farmer's insurance is a little bit cheaper, generally speaking, and it just lets you use your personal auto insurance through phase 2. So if your app is on, say, at 10 o'clock, and you don't get a ride until 10:30, that half an hour you're covered, and you just pay your personal insurance and they take care of it. Number 2, believe it or not, is Geico. It's more than just a cute little lizard and a marketing campaign. Geico actually has really good coverage for you, gap insurance. In fact, I would call it Gap Insurance Plus because they have extra stuff on top of that, just the regular basic stuff in there. You can tell my little worker here, he's gone, he's in his crib. Apparently insurance is so boring, he fell asleep during it. So, Geico basically is really nice because it's a uniform policy from A to B. Whatever your policy is with Geico, they cover you through and through, as long as like the insurance that Lyft or Uber provides isn't higher, right? So they don't even care about the phases. It's whatever, they cover you. So if you're not covered, if something is in the policy that isn't covered by Uber or Lyft, Geico covers you. It's the same from A to B. It's fantastic. The Geico website says it averages $150 a year. I actually don't believe that because that's so low. So because the cost is so low and the policy is so great, it's just a uniform policy all the time. I mean, you can't ask for something better than that. So yeah, you don't have to worry. If you have Geico and you have the rideshare insurance, according to Geico, everything's covered all the time. You don't have to worry. Drive stress-free. So that's why it's number 2. And I know what you're thinking, what could possibly be better than that? Well, that's because State Farm has by far the most amazing rideshare policy. Now, it can be a little more expensive and it's not available everywhere. So, if it's not available in your area, I'm sorry. You know, I hear you, that sucks. But it's amazing because it's the same thing as Geico. It's a universal policy from A to B, but it covers your deductible. So if the $1,000 deductible from Uber You don't have to worry about that. You don't pay that $1,000. You pay your deductible for State Farm. For Lyft, $2,500, don't worry son, State Farm's got you covered, okay? You pay your deductible, whatever that is, somewhere between $0 and probably around $500. That's what you're gonna pay, and you don't have to worry about the other stuff. They'll pay the difference between that. Now, it's not available everywhere. Out of all the rideshare insurance companies, it's got the least amount of availability, probably because the actual policy is so fantastic. So go ahead and check it out and make sure that it's available in your area before you just quit all of your insurance companies and sign up for this one. If you're a full-time driver, I don't see how you don't take State Farm. I mean, Geico at the very least, but it's just amazing. I don't know how it's worry-free driving is what it is. You gotta check with your particular state and city, because insurance companies and insurance policies vary state to state and city to city, because every state and county and city has a different requirements, different minimums, different policies, right? So what may be available for me here in Washington isn't going to be available for you in Florida. It's possible, so check it out. But the moral of the story is, no matter what you decide to do, you have to have some kind of gap insurance, because what you don't want is to have to go to the hospital and then pay all those medical bills because you're not covered under your current Uber policy. I mean, you're almost never covered during any of the 5 phases with Uber or Lyft, just when you have a customer in the car. So definitely go ahead and check it out, guys. So I hope you guys found this video helpful. And I hope to see you on Friday and Saturday at 10 p.m. Pacific Standard Time when I do my live driver streams. So stop by and say hi, guys. Deuces. Hey guys, I hope you liked that video. If you did, go ahead and hit like, thumbs up, and go ahead and leave a comment and subscribe. You hit this button here. There are also going to be 2 videos here and here if you'd like to watch some more. And don't forget to hit the little bell icon that you have on your YouTube so you can get updates when I leave them. Thanks guys, bye.